A recent executive order that was signed by President Joe Biden to increase research on women's health has garnered a lot of attention. This is because reproductive health will continue to be a significant topic in the presidential race in the United States in 2024. Particularly noteworthy is the directive that was issued on March 18 to integrate women's health across all federal agencies and drive new research. The timing is the best it could be. Over several centuries, researchers in the field of medicine have focused solely on males, disregarding or completely disregarding the distinctions between the sexes and extrapolating their findings to females. The fact that women are not physiologically identical to males, which is most obviously demonstrated by the fact that menstruation begins during the commencement of female puberty, and that they have two X chromosomes, has resulted in the provision of medical advice that is frequently inadequate, ineffective, and even harmful. Dr. Stacy, an exercise physiologist and nutrition scientist based in Mount Maunganui, New Zealand, has devoted her professional life to discovering how women should be eating and exercising to achieve maximum health. This lack of female-centered research has been going on for a long time, and it is a result of sex and gender bias. At a TED lecture in 2019, she stated, "Imagine the health outcomes if we work with our physiology, knowing that women are women and men are men, knowing that women are not small men." She was referring to the fact that women are not miniature men. A good illustration of this is a cardiac arrest. Even though women are nearly twice as likely to die from heart attacks as men are, and they report many more symptoms associated with acute coronary syndromes. A study that was published in 2007 by the National Institutes of Health still recommended against distinguishing between the symptoms of heart attacks experienced by men and women. According to research that was recently released in the year 2022 in the journal Women's Health Reports, women continue to be grossly underrepresented in the field of medical writing. In addition, misogynistic attitudes continue to exist. Moreover, even though the National Institutes of Health in the United States of America enacted a policy in 2016 that mandated researchers to take into account gender as a variable in their biomedical study, the outcomes were inconsistent. After this guideline was implemented, there was a discernible rise in the number of research that included female participants. A bibliometric study, which is a method that is used to examine huge amounts of data, was conducted in 2019, and it revealed that the majority of the more than 700 medical studies that were conducted failed to analyze the data that was obtained by sex, which limited the value of the studies. Who is also the author of the scientifically based book Roar, which describes the disparities in activity and nutrition that occur between the sexes at various stages of life, recently gave an interview to CNN in which she discussed her thoughts on the subject. Seek the advice of your physician before beginning any new health and fitness routine. Stop what you're doing immediately if you feel any pain. For the sake of clarity, this exchange has been trimmed and condensed. In the year 2024, experts how women may continue to receive such a low level of medical research. It's true, it's crazy, isn't it? In the past, when you considered who was responsible for the development of science and research, women were excluded from the beginning stages of the process. The males thought that women were inferior beings to themselves. The size of their brains is smaller. According to Darwin, women have smaller brains than men, which is the reason why they are not as intelligent. Consequently, when you consider the scientific method and the beginning of it all, who were the individuals who were present in the room? It consisted entirely of males. Regarding the lack of women being researched, nobody raised any questions. Simply put, they believed that women were smaller versions of males, and therefore, whatever worked for men would also work for women. It is quite challenging to alter a tradition. The epidemic caused researchers to sit up and say, "Holy **, we need to look at sex differences." This is something that I like, and it is one of the things that the pandemic produced. Even though the adverse effects of the vaccine were more noticeable in women, the severity of the COVID-19 virus was greater in men. Women have been more seriously harmed by long-term COVID-19, and it has had a greater impact on their brains than it has on men. For this reason, we are witnessing the emergence of a lot more sex-specific information that is based on really solid scientific research rather than being generalized. Although any form of physical activity is beneficial, it is of utmost significance for women to engage in strength or resistance training. It is more for the wellness of the brain. If we take a look at resistance training and the brain connections that it generates, we can see that it does help reduce the risk of developing dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Furthermore, there is a difference between the sexes in this regard. Nevertheless, throughout history, women have not been encouraged to engage in resistance training. However, women of all ages, from young to elderly, should begin strength training. Does strength training have any other effects on women as they approach menopause? The transformation of our hormones that occurs between the ages of 40 and 50 has a significant influence on the composition of our bodies. We begin to experience a loss of muscular mass and an increase in body fat. Having that lean mass that we have gained through strength training, on the other hand, is a great way to slow down that rate of change. Strength training not only helps us maintain our balance and proprioception, the knowledge of where our body is in space, but it also helps protect our bones through the process of strengthening them. When men are in their late 50s to early 70s, we begin to observe the kinds of changes that are described here. What are the differences between the sexes in terms of exercise when it comes to activity that involves the cardiovascular system? It's pretty much impossible for men to get away with anything. Women already can go long and slow, therefore, there is no need for us to engage in that kind of exercise, because our bodies are already capable of exercising in that manner. We must engage in high-intensity work, specifically those intervals of 30 seconds or 1 minute that are truly high internalization. Not only does this assist women increase their metabolic rate, but it also helps reduce visceral fat, which is fat that is found deep within the abdominal cavity. Most significantly, it helps maintain a diverse microbiota in the gut and improves cardiovascular health. Therefore, when we consider all of the research that has been conducted on high-intensity exercises, moderate-intensity workouts, and low-intensity workouts, we need to put more emphasis on high-intensity strength training in addition to resistance training. Be engaging in muscle training. Do women recover from physical activity in the same way that men do? In the immediate aftermath of physical activity, there is a difference in blood pressure. Women will experience vasodilation, which means that all of their blood will be directed to the periphery. On the other hand, men will experience vasoconstriction, which means that all of their blood will return to their heart and can be pumped much more quickly, resulting in a quicker recovery. Because of this, women have a tendency to experience lightheadedness and a slight sense of dizziness after a strenuous workout because all of their blood is being expelled. Consuming something cold immediately following physical activity reduces the number of metabolites in the body, helps transport blood back to the central region, and initiates the process of repair. What about the disparities in nutrition that take place between the sexes? There is a lot of discussion going on about the amount of protein that people consume and how the daily allotment that is suggested for women is quite low. Additionally, it is based on cadaver work performed on individuals aged 70 to 80 years old. Therefore, although protein is essential for both men and women, women need to emphasize its importance. This is especially true as we get older, as women become more metabolically resistant to the effects of exercise and protein consumption. This means that their bodies do not respond as well to the effects of exercise and protein consumption in terms of building muscle. Therefore, to achieve muscle protein synthesis, It is necessary to consume a greater quantity of protein, perform post-exercise exercises, and perform higher loads or a greater volume of resistance training. So this is the end of our today's video. Do you like it? Kindly give your valuable response in our comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting and informative videos.